To be or not to be, that is the question, and the answer is Jonathan Siskey, my musical guest. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing great.
Look at that camera, not that one.
How's it
Look
going?
at the two.
Right.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hi over there in TV land. And no, I'm not blind. I just want to look cool, but it's not working so far. Look at these whiskers. So look, Jonathan's on our show. John, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. So, you have some songs out. You were on the Quinnipiac radio station.
It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. We talked about the film that you're going to be in. You're going to be performing at the Excel Center. Very cool.
February 28th.
It's going to be a very blistery day.
Probably.
Yes, because
hockey game.
Hockey, the other sport, America. So look, we got a great show tonight, and I do believe you have
got a couple songs.
Yeah, a couple songs, but you have one that you've never really done before,
right?
And it's going to be for, I think, the
zombie movie. Well, actually, all three of them could be for the zombie movie.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. We get to have three
tunes.
All right. So, if it's okay, can I assist you on one of the songs?
Absolutely. You know the words?
I think. All right, John. Go ahead.
This is an original called Howling at the Moon. Some of the happiest moments in my life happened on the darkest of nights. Some say I'm twisted upside down, spinning around and around. They'll never know. They'll never know. The moon's never bright enough for me to see it. Demons that I feel surrounding me. The sun's always way too bright for me to see it. The turns in the road that are leading me home, howling at the moon, howling at the moon. I've said it once before and I'll say it again and again. Baby, we're burning again. Baby, let it burn. Traveling down this road at top speeds of 110. Then it won't be this much fun when it ends. Howling at the moon. moon's never bright enough for me to see. The zombies that I feel surrounding me. The sun's always way too bright for me to see. The turns in the road that are leading me home, howling at the moon. Yeah, howling at the moon. Again, howling at the moon. Howling at the moon.
Oh, that was good howling.
Yeah, that was good howling on your part. Man.
I missed the last one. Well, partner, I'm being called to the ranch out there.
Alrighty.
I understand you got some more stuff, and you let them cowpokes out there in the TV land. You give them a big hello for me.
Hello.
And remember, folks, wherever you do live, ride, and survive, I'll be back. John, you take over here, my friend. If you have any questions, if they give you a hard time, you let me know.
Will do. That's another original.
Dozen leaves have fallen since we've been kissing. I know you're away for a night and I'm okay. You can't see, I can't breathe with my teeth in your veins, and I turn you around to make my move. I'm feeling strong when you're in my arms. All I need is your neck to make you become what I want, what I want, what I want. With my teeth in take away anything. Don't let them take away what you believe in. There's monsters under the bed, zombies in the closets. I don't remember anything. Right before you buried me. Don't let 'em make you feel like a zombie. Don't let 'em make you feel dead inside. Don't let 'em make you feel like a zombie. Don't let 'em make you feel dead inside. I don't remember anything. Right before you bury me. Don't let 'em make you feel like a zombie. Don't let 'em make you feel dead inside. Right.
Are you ready?
Ready. All right.
And a one and a two and we
Represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, and in the name of the Lollipop Guild, we welcome. I know, I've had it. Oh boy. The cameras aren't even turned on. What's the point?
I know, this gig is the biggest crock.
You gotten paid yet?
Nope. 6 weeks on the set and I ain't seen a dime. If I was married, my wife would have left me by now.
I've been on 9 months. Just isn't turning out the way I thought. You'll get paid once the shot is done. That's what they keep telling me. We better get paid.
Can you believe that garbage?
Yeah. Here, you want one?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Take one there.
All right. I'm just about ready to take off. I'm ready to flip them all off, walk out that door. You know, I don't need this malarkey. If I wanted to get abused, I could stay home and let my family do it. Everybody around here thinks we're like the props, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah, props is right. That's all we are to these people, just more furniture. Even the dog treats us like furniture. Oh, hey, you know what happened to me?
What?
When we were shooting that opening sequence, we're not in Kansas anymore. You remember that.
Yeah.
So, as soon as the director yells cut, the little mutt jumps out of Dorothy's hands, grabs me by the collar,
Whoa.
drags me behind the soundstage, and buries me up to my neck in the sand.
Well, she couldn't have mistaken you for a bone. Maybe she thought you were a ham hock or something.
Oh, very funny. Yeah, listen to the funny one over here, yeah.
Well, this is my problem. You know those human beings on this production? The ones that treat us like the dogs. Okay? All right? I came here for an audition. All right? And I am the resident auditioner. The guinea pig, as you could call me. Okay?
Right.
So they bring in this guy to help out and stand in for the Tin Man. His name was Buddy Somebody. He was a real schmuck.
Yeah, they
all right? So they're trying to find a stool for him to sit on because they wanted to do his makeup. So what do you think? They couldn't find a stool. So who do you think they called?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yes, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, so they called. All right, yep, me. I was there for 1 hour and a half. I'm straining and I'm sweating. And then all of a sudden I realized that I am going to be sitting there with my head stuck right up his little silver pucker. I know. Yeah, but let me tell you something. It ended up okay in the end. Want to know why? He breathed in too much paint, and he ended up in an iron lung. Sometimes there's real justice in this world.
That's right.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So you got anything lined up after this?
Nah, I'm done. Going back to the shipyard. At least those shipyard bosses don't let you get buried by a dog. Oh.
Me, I'm going for some real money.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, before this, I did a lot of grunt union work.
Yeah.
You know, picket lines, sit-ins, that kind of thing. Didn't pay a lot, but made me feel good inside, you know, made me feel like I was a part of something big. Well, then I get this gig and the SAG treats me like I don't exist.
Oh, so you're out.
Damn Skippy, I'm out. As soon as this is done, I'm going up with Pinkertons as a strikebreaker. I get more money and I get to bust the heads of those skinflint bosses of mine.
So there is justice. There's justice.
Hey, you got that right.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah. 3 more hours of hell.
Yeah.
I guess it don't matter much in the end, though. I mean, come on. It's not like anybody's going to remember anything we do in 20 years, right?
Are you kidding me? I don't think so. You're so right. It's dead and gone.
Yeah. Get this over with.
Hi, I'm Nominally Brennett, and I'm here at Alma and Margarita's house doing a concert with Arlene Wow here in New London tonight. To become a musician, that was because it basically was like programmed into my DNA. It's like I was never someone who wondered like, what am I going to be when I grow up? What am I going to do? It was just kind of, what is it going to look like? I know it's going to be something with music, so. Well, I was a really anxious person. I still am a little bit. So transitioning it seemed impossible to me. The idea of doing something that was so like visible to people and just being open to that kind of rejection and also possibly physical danger. So I ended up in therapy and just basically try to take it like one little step at a time. How they dress, how they talk, how they kiss. I would like walk down the street. This is in Tucson, Arizona, and sometimes people like would like roll down the window of their car and just like yell slurs out the window or something because it was pretty obvious that I was a male-bodied person who was trying to appear as female. And I got fired from a job when I transitioned. I was working in a church as their music person, and it's a whole other story. But so And just kind of walking through the world and having no idea, like, how you'll be received by people. Like, if people will be cool or confused, or if they'll ridicule you, or, I don't know. And the worst case scenario for a trans person is that you get, physically assaulted by someone, or, I know it's a well-quoted statistic that there's at least 200 or 300 trans women each year that are murdered. So, mostly trans women of color. I feel like that's not something you hear in the news a lot. So, I feel like I've been lucky and that I have been able to walk through the world with not too bad of experiences, but it's just something that's always in the back of your mind, I guess. So, right now I'm working on driving 10,000 miles in 2 months. I have a new CD that just came out this spring, and I toured Germany for 5 weeks in April and May, and I've been touring the United States since the end of August. So right now I'm just kind of basically trying to make sure every day I show up where I'm supposed to be, like in the right city, at the right place. So far so good. So, yeah.
Some people look, some people stare, some people turn away, stumbling over words as if their tongue is in the way. Some people act as if their mind is made up anyway. Some people talk, some people shout, some people shut their mouth. Some people's ears are tuned out from living underground. Some people laugh, some people act as if they're looking down. Safety that as if they ever were at all. Some see a world where life's as fragile as their mind is small, living in big glass houses with their big glass walls. Yeah, I'm not the thorn in your side, I'm not the break in your heart, I'm not the speck in your eye, I'm not the falling apart, I'm not your floor, I'm not your ceiling, I'm not the fear, I'm not that box that they can live inside. Some people never understand, some people never try. Some people's minds are just as narrow as the truth is wide.
It's an honor to be here with such a legend like Mr. Stanley here. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Mr. Stanley. Mr. Stanley, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, how do you do, ladies and gentlemen? It's a pleasure to meet you.
Now, what inspired you to create such superheroes as the X-Men, especially in an age where segregation was strongly exercised?
Well, I thought that this might be a good way to show the evils of race hatred and the evil of hating people just because they're different.
Mm-hmm.
Although I must admit that wasn't the main objective. That came a little bit later. Primarily, I was just looking for an exciting team of superheroes. But once I had the team and I had their powers, I thought, since they're different from most everybody else, it might be interesting if most normal humans hate them, fear them, despise them because of the fact that they seem so different. And maybe we can inject a moral in this series also.
That sort of answers my second question, which is, what was your main goal for the X-Men when you first started out?
Greed.
In a way, did you use the mutants as a metaphor in your comic books for people who are different?
Yes. In fact, it's a strange thing. I'm sort of known as the person who created heroes who all had some sort of handicaps in a way. Well, Spider-Man's handicap, of course, was the fact that he was shy. He didn't have enough self-confidence as Peter Parker. He didn't have enough money. He wasn't good with girls, with dates. He was just like any typical insecure teenager, I guess. Iron Man had a weak heart. Daredevil was blind. The Hulk had all sorts of problems. And on and on.
And we're back. I'm Chris Annino here with Caroline Cossey, actor, model, pioneer in the trans community. Wonderful to have you on the show. It really means a lot.
Well, good morning.
Thank you. Now, when you began your transition, how did you normalize yourself in society? Obviously, it was a big deal.
Well, funny enough, I was doing my transition at the time. I was actually doing two jobs. I was doing an apprenticeship as a beautician, and in the evening, I was working as an usherette. And I had somebody that asked me to go and audition as a showgirl. And I said, well, hang on a minute, you know what? Oh, yes, everybody knows, because within the theatre, everybody had heard what I was going through. So, funny enough, I actually went for the audition and got the job. So I actually transitioned doing showgirl work, which then went on to other showgirl work in Paris. And so it's kind of odd that I was doing, a regular female job, but transitioning at the same time. So that was kind of neat, but is that what you were asking me? How did I sort of...
Yeah, how did you kind of, like...
deal with it?
Yeah, and pretty much normalize your surroundings and just... I mean, obviously it was difficult for you. And I recall in an interview that they did, you did mention how when you were in school, when you were a kid, you didn't feel that you were...
Oh, yes. As a child, it was awful. I mean, you just get picked on. I mean, if you're... thin, weedy, and I was sissy, pansy. I mean, I just got bullied, and I spent most of my childhood sort of ducking and diving at school, hiding out in the during the breaks because I didn't want to get picked on. So it was hiding out in the bathroom or the library. Always very unkind. So I got along well with girls, and I just thought I was weedy and I was thin. So I didn't really know what was going on. It was only when my sexual awareness came about that I instantly thought, my gosh, there is something wrong because I'm not attracted to girls. So that was my sort of awareness. Prior to that, I mean, my parents took me to various specialists because I was having really bad dizzy spells and almost blackouts, and they couldn't work out what I went to different specialists, and they put things on my head and tried to see if I had some kind of brain tumor, I suppose, but they turned around and said, oh, it's hormonal and he'll grow out of it. But I didn't. It got worse. So it was tough, growing up, especially in the countryside, and my dad was, he's a typical man's man, and he was just trying to encourage me to look after myself and defend myself, and encourage my brother to try and toughen me up, but it failed, and I was, I just didn't want to be a disappointment and an embarrassment to my family. So the minute I was able to get away and find myself, I did that.
And you went to London, correct?
Yes, I mean, I had met a couple of people in Norwich, which was the nearest city, and they were gay. And I just assumed I was gay, and until sort of going through that experience, knowing, well, no, I'm not. I mean, a lot of the gay places turned me away because they didn't. Well, I suppose they classed me as a drag queen, and to me that was an insult because I weren't. I was just putting makeup and trying to make myself look pretty and be, as girly as possible. It just felt the right thing for me, but that's not what gay men are about. I mean, I know that there are the gay guys that like to dress as women and put on a show, and it's drag, but no, this was serious for me. I just wanted to be girly and dress as a woman.
Now, I just wanted to isolate something real quick. You told me a lot right there, and when you were getting picked on, and when you were getting bullied, and hence again, you were in a very rural area where like you said, the countryside, and pretty much in the middle of nowhere, it seems, that, did you have any escape? Like some people retreat to books or just was there any place that you could go that was a refuge at that point in your life?
Any place that I felt comfortable? You mean? Well, only when I was in Norwich and just thought I would, was gay. There was this one place that I picked up courage. I had a couple of stiff drinks and able to go through the door, but and then meeting other people that obviously were attracted to the same sex, and that's what I felt at that point, that I must be gay. And I did get friendly with some young boys, and that put me, so I did feel comfortable that I weren't isolated and I wasn't alone, but they couldn't understand why I liked to put makeup on and make myself look pretty, and I just was like my sister, you just, grow your hair, and that was the 60s, and, Ellen Shapiro and Dusty Springfield and eyelashes and eyeliner. It was just the thing, so.
And once again, I was listening to a lot of your interviews, and I was reading, you were recently in a magazine article. I do believe, was it Cherry Magazine, correct?
Just recently, you mean that? Just recently now, right? It was Candy Magazine.
Candy Magazine.
It was a very artsy, transgendery kind of great magazine, and I mean, I have been retired now for over 20 years. I became very reclusive after sort of going into that big circus and fighting and all the rest of it, and then because I found love and marriage, I just turned my back on all of it. So, it's only because now the sort of spotlight has been put on the whole transgender situation this year, and then last year my husband said, "Your book is a sale for $4,000, and I said, "You're kidding me." So last year we set about to try and convert that into a digital format where we could get it into a Kindle and also audio. So that's what we did. And then suddenly out of the blue I get a call from my agent saying, Playboy likes to feel that they were ahead of the game, and because of all the Caitlin publicity that's gone on, they just want to feel that they were ahead of the game and want to rerun your story from the 80s. I said, oh, okay. As long as we're not going to do any pictures, I said, I'm happy to do an interview, but I didn't want to sort of do any nudie shots at my age. But as it turned out, the shoot that I did for Candy, it was very tastefully done, and it was sort of sexy, and I didn't think I could pull it off at my age, but it's been pretty, it's been received well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you do look great. You still look amazing right now. But you did mention something in it was either in one of the articles or one of your interviews that it really doesn't matter what's between your legs. And so this question is more directed to, why does it matter in our society what you gender identify as? I'm just working off of something you had mentioned in a previous interview.
Yes, because I think, you see, way back in my day, when you go to a psychiatrist and you get referred to therapy, they want to really, I mean, in my day, it was just making sure that surgery was the right thing, because you can live and be comfortable with yourself without the surgery, because that doesn't make you a woman. That helps you function in a female fashion if that's what you need to do. And in my case, I mean, I had tried sexually in what I was blessed with, but it wasn't satisfactory. So I needed to function down below. But I know girls that, they live and they got their identity sorted out, and they haven't taken it to the level of gender reassignment surgery. So, and I think, it's a big step, and with Caitlin as an example, I mean, she looks amazing, and she has now put the spotlight onto the whole subject, and this new word transgender, it's an umbrella that covers quite a few of us now, and if you can get to 65 and father children, obviously her equipment works. So to me, I'm learning, like most of us are, we're all kind of a bit surprised, but she's not a criminal. She's entitled to choose how she feels. She wants to live her life, and she looks amazing there, but I would be very surprised if she needs to have surgery at this point in her life to feel complete. She's certainly got her identity sorted out, and if she's comfortable with herself, and she's attracted to women, obviously, so that piece of equipment I would have thought was terribly necessary, because I have a couple of girlfriends that are lesbian, and they use the sort of strap-on, and to me, I kind of laugh and say, well, Caitlin's got a living strap-on, so, it's keep it and use it and have fun with it.
Could I think you and I were talking about this a couple days ago. Unfortunately, she's sort of painted herself in a bit of a corner, and it's not her fault. It's just how it kind of happened. And I'm glad you brought her up. But you were talking about how she's fairly new to this, and
well, apparently she's new to it because she's come out, but from what I understand from what she said, it's not new to her. She's been dealing with this for many, many years, and a lot of transgender people do. They fight it, they join the army, they join the Marines, they do all kinds of things to sort of cover it up, and then when it takes over and becomes bigger than them, but, I hate to use the word because I'm old-fashioned, and do forgive me, but in my day, it was transsexual or transvestite, and, if you're a transvestite, you dress as a woman, you get a kick, and there's nothing wrong with that, but, that's very important to find the line there and find out what it is. So, she's hit some obstacles as far as press, but that's unfortunate. The fact that when you're in the limelight, there's always going to be good and bad press around you. That's just how it is.
Well, right, and you who were at the front lines at one point, you had to face it head on, and in fact, I mean, yeah, she was on the cover of Vanity Fair and whatever else, but you defied all odds, and you were in Playboy, you were in Penthouse, you were in the front page of Vogue France, if I'm correct, if I'm not mistaken. I
certainly was a successful model, and unfortunately, with success, you always get, they bring you up, the media, and then they look for things to bring you down.
They'll bring it down, right?
A couple of rumours have come out, and then one particular newspaper, News of the World, had spent 4 years hounding me and trying to get family or friends and dig up 100% concrete evidence to be able to print my story. And finally they got access to the medical files at the hospital, and obviously paid nicely to some medical student, which, from what I understand, that's what happened, and they got their 100% concrete evidence and then printed the story, because I kept threatening to sue. You go ahead, I'll sue you. This is not true, and they didn't have it from any of my family, but they were just horrendous. I mean, I just spent 4 years paranoid, and I pulled out of a contract, and I was in a show, 321, which was a great show, and that show was it was primarily for 3 months, and it actually finished running for 10 years, so who knows where my life would have gone if I'd have stayed in the show. And Benny Hill had written to me, and I was basically going to be part of his shows, and they were great fun, and there was just so many things that I might have done if my background hadn't have come out, but as it turned out, it did. I got over the initial shock, and then I just decided, I guess it was my father's fighting spirit in me, and having the love and support of family and close friends, that I thought, well, hang on, this is not right. I am in a country where it's all legal, you're helped, and then I'm stuck in this horrible position of being very vulnerable, and I break the law. I mean, you know, every day, some of the issues that we're facing today of using the women's bathroom. If a man rapes me, he gets off with assault because I couldn't be technically raped, and I couldn't marry anybody. And, you know, if you have a grievance within the law in Britain, what you have to do is you have to exhaust all domestic remedies and then take your case to Strasbourg, the European Court of Human Rights, and that's what I did. It was a long battle, and I won. I won on both counts for the right to change my birth certificate and the right to marry. But on an appeal, and a few years later, I lost. And it was all because, you know, in Britain it's either the church or the crown that's very powerful, and in this case it was the church, and it was all to do with procreation, which is really ludicrous, but I lost, and it was devastating, and I had a go, and then I just continued for as much time as I could, just trying to enlighten and show awareness just for the injustices that we go through, and we just want to get on and be left alone and have the rights that we deserve to have.
Well, and you talk about injustice, and you did mention one very hot topic right now, and that is what's happening in regards to, well, primarily the states, from what I understand, in regards to individuals who are trans, who are now not allowed to, I do believe they're not allowed to go to the bathrooms that they relate to, and you and I were discussing this prior. What do you think the best resolution is for this? Because I do understand that they're trying to have people actually turn these individuals, anyone who's trans into the authorities, and they will get a bounty, from what I understand.
I just don't understand it. I mean, it's ludicrous. I mean, unless you make a unisex toilet. I mean, I've seen toilets that are unisex that, you know, you just, in these rest centres and what have you when travelling. So take my mum to a disabled toilet. So I don't know what the answers are, but other than wearing a diaper when you're out, if you're going through gender reassignment, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I went through that years ago, and, you know, you go to the bathroom, you have to go, but I certainly didn't go to the men's. You know, I went to the women's, and it's breaking the law, but, you know, and you just keep your fingers crossed that no one's going to suddenly go, oh my gosh, and pick up the phone and report you, but it's a difficult situation, and it's, I don't know what the solutions are, especially for the girls that don't necessarily look terribly convincing. And when I say that, I don't mean that in a derogatory manner, but when you first start your transition, it can be a little tough. So that's very sensitive.
Right, and for those who don't really understand what that's like, the therapy and the hormones and everything like that, I mean, you went through it. And obviously it's a very difficult thing for your body to undertake, because you're pretty much going through puberty again, from which I understand.
When you say difficult, I don't know. That's the best part. I mean, finding yourself, taking the hormones at the right dosage, and getting your counselling. That's the route to recovery. Fabulous. And then surgery, but it's coming to get to that point. It's difficult. Finding out what's wrong, but no, that was, you know, I mean, I don't think that's, you know, that's hallelujah. That's the good stuff, you know, getting, you know, my psychiatrist was tough from the word go. It's always, you know, come in, Mr. Cossey, sit down, and you know, how does it make you feel? Put in women's clothes. Oh my gosh, I mean, he was really anti-surgery. I mean, it's bizarre, but he just wanted to deter the fact that you would have surgery and live to regret it. So that's understandable, and the timeline back then, it's changed now, but it's 3 years. You just needed to live, work, and be happy and comfortable and blend in, and then if surgery was something, then you get the okay, and he refers you to the surgeon, and then you get put on the waiting list for that.
and once again, there's just a lot going on with media and with everything and this uproar and everything else, and just it seems everything's finally now catching up. And I'm glad that you've come out again and are taking part in this.
Well, but the door is only halfway open, let me say. I mean, I have been recently sort of, I've been part of the social media, which is kind of interesting for a few months, and getting quite a debates and things on Facebook, which is great, but I don't really want to go back in. I've been doing some copies, and I'm putting them out to show what I went through, but I certainly don't want to go even close to where I was 20 years ago. I mean, I opened myself up, and it was a very bad place to be back then. Things are different now, and people are different about it. There's a lot more awareness, but at the same time, I love what I have. I have a married life, and that's something I fought for many years of my life and dreamed of, and I have a man who loves me, and I wouldn't want to give all of that up just to have another little 15 minutes of fame, because it comes at a price, and it's not for me. At this point, I'm never going to say I wouldn't do anything that's educational and enlightening the public, but I just want to take things very gentle. I've done my bit, and I think we all deserve a downtime, and I'm having mine.
That's wonderful, and I'm very proud and glad that you're in a good place now and that you've found that person. And before I let you go, and once again, I just want to reassure you, this means so much that you're on our show, and you're more than welcome to come on anytime. And it's, once again, you're just a great inspiration toward not just the trans community, but just towards any community that had to deal with any form of conflict. It's very difficult out there in regards to it's so easy to hate someone, but to know someone it's hard, and we don't take the time to do that. I'm just so glad that you're on today. The one thing I want to ask you though is, with all this that's happening, what needs to happen for the next generation, and maybe not necessarily the next generation and people who are trans, but just the next generation of anyone, really?
Well, I think it's actually happening, Christopher. Actually, I mean, I did an interview a couple of months ago with a young journalist from I think it was Cosmo, and I said, because on the phone I couldn't work out in the name. I said, I'm sorry to ask you, but are you male or female? And well, she said, I was actually born female, but I don't identify. I am queer. And I thought, oh, well, I've been called that a few times as a kid, and that was a different kind of term. But she explained that she didn't identify, and gosh, I mean, the younger generation is exactly where we should be, and it's only our generation that have a difficult time in boxes and labels. So I think we just, it's the younger generation now are coming out, and they're not prejudiced, and they don't stick you in a box and stick a label on it. And I think we're just going towards a much, much healthier time, and transgender is this new word, as I said earlier. So I think everything is just moving nicely, and I'm glad to be alive to see it.
And we're glad that you're here to be a part of it. And once again, this is just such a great thing that you're coming out and being a part of the movement again and everything else. And especially for like individuals like GLAD's just an amazing organization that's really also leading the charge with this. I notice there's a lot of other individuals who are also taking a stand, even in local communities. And like in my community out, CT is a huge supporter of this, and raising awareness and having individuals just understand. And that's just the big thing, I think, is just understanding. But once again, I do appreciate this interview. And
you're welcome, Christopher. Anytime you feel that you want to cover something else in the subject, or I can bring my little, I wouldn't say expertise, but my little, 61 years, I guess, and going through what I did at an early age, if that could be helpful, I'm happy to talk about it.
Well, I might have to take you up on that, if you don't mind.
Okay. All right. Well, you take care.
You too, my friend. You take care of yourself.
Well, it kind of came to fruition. It's been an idea of me and Roxy's for some time. Roxy was the brainchild of it all. She kind of threw it out there, and I was like, hey, that's a pretty dang good idea. It's kind of based on the fact that there really are not a lot of positive trans role models in the world, and we're slowly starting to get more. Laverne Cox, probably right now the biggest positive trans role model out there, working in film and television, doing, production side of things as well as on-air talent. So naturally, me and Rox, as well as a few others, Mariah, Aubrey, Paula, using our celebrity in our field, professional wrestling, to be visible and show the world that not only do we exist, but we matter. And not only do we matter, but we can have a cause. We can bring something positive to the table. That's kind of the gist of it, really.
I agree totally.